Her screams echoed through the marble halls of Eldoria's royal palace, a sound so harrowing that even the stone walls seemed to shudder. The midwives whispered prayers to the gods, their hands slick with blood. Outside the chamber, King Magnus, paced like a caged beast, his crown askew, his knuckles wide around the hilt of his sword. "Save her," he growled at the royal physician, Lord Vane. "Save them both." Lord Vane, a man of sharp eyes and sharper secrets, bowed. "I will do what I must, your majesty." Hours later, when the cries finally ceased, the doors opened. A midwife emerged, her face pale but triumphant. "A son, your majesty." "A prince," the king exhaled, his rigid posture collapsing in relief. But as he stepped into the chamber, he saw the truth in his wife's exhausted eyes, something unspoken, something terrible. The child in her arms was not his, and yet, she smiled. "Edric," she whispered, "our heir." 16 years later, Prince Edric stood at the balcony of the royal palace, watching the sun rise over Eldoria. The kingdom sprawled beneath him, lush forests, glittering rivers, and the distant smoke of villages waking to another day under his family's rule. Brooding again? Edric turned to see his cousin, Lady Leora, smirking at him. She was the only one who dared tease him so freely. "Not brooding," he said. Planning how to escape your own birthday celebration?" Edric groaned. The blood royal ceremony was tonight, a sacred rite where his blood would be tested against the sanguine crown, proving once and for all that he was the true heir. "It's just a formality," he muttered. Leora's smile faltered. "Is it?" Edric frowned. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "Nothing. Just be careful tonight." Before he could ask why, a horn blared. The king's summons. Edric straightened his coat and left, unaware that by sunset, his life would be in ruins. The grand hall was packed. Nobles in silk and jewels, foreign dignitaries, priests in crimson robes, all waiting to witness the confirmation of Eldoria's future king. King Magnus sat upon the throne, his face unreadable. Queen Serafina stood beside him, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles were white. Edric approached the dais where the high priest held the sanguine crown, a relic said to glow only for true-born heirs. "Prince Edric of Eldoria," the priest intoned, "by your blood, you shall be known." A needle pricked his finger, a single drop of blood fell onto the crown. Silence. Then nothing. The crown remained dull. A gasp tore through the crowd. Edric's heart stopped. The king stood. His voice was death itself. "Seize him." The queen screamed as guards dragged Edric away. "He is your son," she cried. The king backhanded her. "Liar." Edric struggled, but iron shackles clamped around his wrists. He was thrown into the dungeons, his fine clothes stripped, his name spat like a curse. That night, Lord Vane visited him. "You were never the king's son," the physician murmured. "But you are royal." Edric lunged at him. "What does that mean?" Vane smiled grimly. "It means you were never meant to be a pawn. You were meant to be a king." The dungeon exploded in chaos. Rebels, hidden allies of the old royal line, stormed the cells. Edric was hauled through secret passages, into the night, where a horse waited. "Ride," a hooded figure urged. "To the Black Marsh. Find the last Vane." Edric gripped the reins. "Who are you?" The figure lowered her hood. "Lady Leora, your cousin," she said, "in blood as well as name." Then she slapped the horse's flank, and Edric was gone. The Black Marsh was a place of nightmares. Fog clung to rotting trees, and the water hissed with unseen creatures. Deep in the bog, Edric found her, an ancient woman with eyes like shattered glass. "So," she croaked, "the lost prince returns." Edric fell to his knees. "Tell me who I am." She laughed. "You are Edric Vane, last heir of the true royal line. The king you called father slaughtered your family. Your mother, the queen, hid you in plain sight." Edric's breath came fast. "Why?" The crone's grin was razor sharp. "Because the crown does recognize your blood. It just fears it." Edric was no longer a prince. He was a revolutionary. With the crone's guidance, he sought out the scattered remnants of House Vane, nobles living in exile, peasants who still whispered the old prayers, mercenaries who owed fealty to his blood. Among them was Kale, a rogue with a grudge against the king. "You want to take the throne?" Kale scoffed. "Prove your worth following." Edric did. He raided supply caravans, freed prisoners, and carved his name into the king's nightmares. And with each victory, his army grew. The final battle came at dawn. Edric's forces stormed the capital. Fire rained from the sky as siege towers crashed against the walls. The streets ran red to the palace gates. King Magnus waited, sword in hand. "You," he snarled, "a pretender to the end." Edric stepped forward. "No, you are the pretender." Their blades clashed. Steel rang like a death knell. Edric fought not for revenge, not even for the throne, but for the truth. The king fell, the people roared. Edric stood before the sanguine crown once more. This time, when his blood touched it, the crown burned gold. Light erupted, so bright it blinded. The high priest trembled. The crown, it burns for true kings. Edric turned to the crowd. I am Edric Vane, he declared, and this kingdom is mine. Years later, King Edric sat upon the throne, the sanguine crown gleaming upon his brow. Leora stood at his side, now his most trusted advisor. Kale, the rogue, had become his general. Even the crone from the marsh visited, cackling at how fate had turned. But Edric's gaze often drifted to the dungeon where Magnus rotted, a living reminder of the price of lies. A servant approached. Your Majesty, the petitioners await. Edric stood. He had been a prince. Who wasn't? Now, he was a king who was, and his reign had only just begun.